going on?
I'm so excited that you're here, guys. I wanted to have Vanessa on for like literally ever. She's a beast. Okay.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I've been watching you guys from the sidelines, and what you guys are building is so special and so rare. So I'm super happy to be here with you guys as well.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Before we get started, Vanessa, can you drop your TikTok handle or tell me
Yeah,
what
it's just
you
my
can say
name. I don't really know it, to be honest. If you guys just type in my name, I'm sure it's there.
on TikTok? We'll find it.
Yeah.
Or you guys can go to mine or somebody that you know on the team and go find it. Guys, you need to make sure that you're following her. Okay. I watch this girl every single day on TikTok and she posts. A lot of people post on social media, but like you can't hear the client, or they post on social media, but they're like not being fully transparent. Guys, if you want some gangster sales tips of Vanessa on the phone with real clients, real objections, you guys need to make sure you're following her. So now that we got that out of the way, Vanessa, so sorry I took so long for our intro. I'm so pumped that you're here. For anyone who doesn't know you, can you give us kind of like the background story?
Yeah. So I've been in the business for 4 years. I started when I was 21. I'm now 25. And it's funny because I remember seeing you speak and I was like, that girl is so awesome. Like I was already contracted, but I totally would have worked with you if I had the opportunity. But it's just funny. I've had so many ups and downs in my career. And yeah, I don't know. It's a whirlwind, right? So I'm on my third time building my business back here at FFL. So yeah, that's a
I
little bit
love
more.
that. Vanessa, what were you doing before? Were you at a previous like practice company before this, or was this just straight into life insurance with us?
So I worked at a practice company for about 3 or 4 months. I was a captive agent selling union members, bulk kits, if you know, you know. And I was there for about 3 months, and then I worked in real estate a little bit, and then I was bartending, serving, just graduated college, kind of up in the air, not knowing what I was doing with my life. So
Yeah, you trust me, you and the rest of us, girl. That is basically the story. So, okay, so you consistently, from a selling standpoint, you are selling 25, 30K every single month. And there's always those basic questions people want to know. So let's kind of get into that. What is your recipe for that, right? What are the leads? What is your spend? What's kind of your schedule and your hours that you're putting in? Kind of those basic ones everyone always is asking.
So, I mean, as far people always say this, but I feel like just having a schedule, I feel like I've gotten better with that over time. I've always sold 25 to 30 consistently because I've always wanted to put more time back into like recruiting, training, developing. But next month I plan to have my biggest month in insurance and put out some big numbers. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, just having a schedule is key. And then also figuring out what makes you guys money, right? Like, whenever I'm deciding to do something, I always ask myself, is this making me money or is it going to make me money? Is that conversation going to make me money? Is doing this going to make me money? And if it's not an income producing activity, I'm not doing it. So, yeah, it just make me money.
Yeah. And what is your, well, and you, I feel like do a really good job about that. Like, honestly, I feel like you're very outside of like, I'm not talking to everybody all the time. I'm just over here and I'm selling and I'm doing my thing. You're showing all on social media too, like, hey, I'm putting in the hours all day, like maybe hit the gym, but you're clearly making sacrifices, in your personal life to be putting in those hours. So talk to us a little bit about that. I mean, you're 25, right?
Right.
Most 25-year-olds, and I mean, we have some on our team, we see them all, they want to be traveling, they want to be out, especially they're making the money that you're making. How do you keep yourself like from getting complacent? How do you keep yourself grounded to still do that?
Mm, I think it just depends on the person that you are. Like, there's some people on this call, or maybe there's not. There's some people who are really scared of work. And I've never been scared of working. Like, I just know that working is what is going to get me to where I want to be. And I enjoy working. I feel like the people who are like sad or depressed or feel like they're failing in business are the people who are not moving and they're not growing, right? Maybe they're not selling, maybe they're not recruiting, maybe they're not training. They don't have that level of like momentum to keep them going. And I feel like I've always just consistently added new things in my business to keep that momentum there, right? If you have like two agents quit, go hire five, right? If you have a bad month, go sell an extra 10K. So just having to like keep that momentum is huge when you lose it.
And then how do you deal with that? Like, mentally, right? Like, do you ever have days where you're like, shoot, I had two agents that quit, or I had two chargebacks that came in, or I had a client that cussed me out on the phone? Like, how do you stay really level-headed?
I think it just gets easier over time. If I'm being honest, it like really was hard my first year, year and a half when an agent would quit or they would go work with another team or someone would cuss me out or I would get a charge back. And honestly, it just gets easier over time. Now I don't even think about it, right? It's just like, okay, on to the next. And you have to have that like abundance mindset that no matter what is coming your way, there's going to be more. So abundance mindset is huge.
Yeah, I love that. Putting it in the chat. Okay. And then, so obviously there's a lot of stuff too. So your previous company, you didn't have leads, and then here you come over here and we buy leads.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like as an adjustment to you? Because a lot of people get really scared to buy leads.
I honestly didn't have an issue with it at all. I was like super eager to buy leads because I was talking to people who weren't even interested in life insurance at all. So it's just like the best way to also duplicate your business and make it like easy for others to do, right? Not everyone can go and like sell 10 friends and family, but what everyone can do is buy leads and call them. So it's going to be able to also scale your business much more faster than working other models like other IMOs do. So super easy
Do
for me.
do you feel like since you've like tried out other things and like been other places in the industry, do you feel like we ever get like ungrateful at FFL for what we have?
Oh, 100%. Because people always think the grass is greener and then they go and they're like, well, why did I do that? And then they come back. And if you guys know anything about my journey, I've done that, right? I've left FFL, I came back, and now I'm here. And what I can tell you guys is just plant your roots, build your business, and don't leave, right? You're going to see people talking on social media like, oh, this place is better, and FFL is this, or FFL is that. But I'm telling you, I've seen it all. I've interviewed with so many different people, and this is the best out there, 100%. That's why I'm here.
So, so talk to us about that, Vanessa. When you tried out those other places, which is like totally fine, right? Everyone's journey is different. What were some of the things that you're seeing? Like, were the leads more expensive? Were they the same? Was it virtually the same stuff? Did they have, were you getting paid more, getting paid less? Was it harder to write clients? Or what was really the draw for you to come back and be like, no, this is it?
Getting paid less, but also just like the systems and also the resources. We don't understand like the resources and the access that we have, like with Sean or Marissa, or just even with the carriers, right? If I have an agent that's having some sort of issue, I know I can just call like Sean or someone else at corporate and it gets fixed automatically. It doesn't work like that with other IMOs, right? It's like this whole other process of getting things fixed. If an agent gets terminated, you're SOL, right? So there's just a lot of resources here that you can't beat with other places.
Yeah. I think that is super crazy because I came in just right to FFL. Like I was unlicensed before this. So I never knew anything about the industry. So
Yeah.
I would look at other places and they would be like, I get paid at a 20% or we don't have leads over here. And I'd be like, dude, that's a lie. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I didn't realize because I came right here what other people were dealing with until I started recruiting them. And they were like, dude, I only could call my aunts and uncles. And then even my aunts and uncles, like, they would steal my aunts and uncles' clients from me. Like, I couldn't even sell those people. So it's kind of weird if this is your first kind of go round in insurance, you don't realize like everyone says they're the best. So we can sit here and say we're the best. But take Vanessa's words for it, guys. If she's gone other places, she's explored. She's like, let me see what really is the best. And here she is, absolutely crushing it back with us again. So, you kind of don't know what you don't know and you don't realize. And that is super powerful too, is like what, you know, Sean has built and FFL has built. Like we get to have Devin on a training call. Whereas like some places the carriers are like, we don't even know who that IMO is. Like, what are you guys talking about? So I think that's super, super important that you brought up the resources. Okay, now, so IULs, vets, I mean, final expense, all these mortgage protection, do mortgage protection, do this, do that. Well, first of all, what do you do? What's kind of your mix if you even have a mix? Do you stick to one thing? And then what's your recommendation, like as new agents come in for the products that you're telling them to kind of go towards?
I've done it all. Like I've done veteran leads, mortgage protection, IULs. I've like done it all. This past year I've been selling veteran leads. That's been like my thing. And I think it's like so easy to be like, oh, let me try this or let me try this different type of lead. And if it's working for you, don't try to like mess it up. Um, and then that's my recommendation. When you find something that works and you find a system that's profitable for you, then stick with that, right? And then work on how you can scale that and teach others how to scale it. That's why I've always stayed at that sweet spot of like 20 to 35K a month of business. Because I'm leading from the front, but I'm also like taking the time to actually develop and train my agents, and be on the calls with my agents.
Yeah. So you guys have a virtual Zoom room too.
Yep, we do everything through Zoom.
Okay. And I think that's super important too, guys, to realize like it doesn't have to be the same as everybody. So like Vanessa's like, I found my sweet spot with vet leads. I like them. And that's kind of like what has been successful for me. And Digna's on this call and she's like, I do Spanish IULs. Like that is my jam. So I think that's super, sorry, I hate this. I think it's super important that you say that. Like it doesn't have to be the exact same as what Vanessa's doing. It doesn't have to be the exact same as what Des is doing. Like you can find what works for you. Okay, cool. So Vanessa, you're obviously, I see your stuff on social media. I know what you do on your Zoom room as well. You're crushing it. What are some of like, I've seen some closing tips that you post that I don't think we talk about enough. Like I saw one where you're like talking about just being silent with the client, right? I saw one where you're talking about like they're laughing, but you're not laughing. And you're like, I'm trying not to laugh, but like I'm not laughing for a reason. Can you talk to us about some things that you do that maybe are not necessarily like words, but just some like tonality stuff and some tips that you can give these guys to kind of have better posture with their clients?
Yeah. So I think like she's referring to where I asked the client to buy, right? Do you want to do this or this kind of thing? And then I was just silent, right? The client kind of had some hesitation as far as like, I don't know, right? And being silent is really, really key in like general, like working in the business aspect. Like even when I'm talking to recruits or just talking in general, having like a 2 to 3 second pause just makes you like, I don't know, sound smarter. And it also makes you seem very calm, cool, and collected and like you know what you're talking about. So when you have that 2 to 3 second pause after someone speaks to you, it just like gives you that level of dominance. And then what was the other one you talked about? The
I think the client was laughing and you were like
oh
not gonna laugh.
yeah, so I'm not like being funny or buddy buddy with the client until they pick an option, right? Some people are gonna like really build rapport. They're gonna talk about their life story. They're gonna talk about them, but until the client picks an option, I'm not really like building a ton of rapport because to me, I feel like it's a lot easier to say no to someone that you're comfortable with, right? It's easier to say no to your mom than it is to maybe me, right? Because you're comfortable with your mom. So when you have like a very professional attitude in your presentation, that's going to help you a ton. But you have to like know when it's appropriate to laugh. If we're talking about their funeral, we're talking about this and you're just like laughing with them, they're also not going to take the call serious. So but I also crack a lot of jokes at the right time, right? Humor is huge in your guys' presentation. So find a couple jokes that you guys consistently say for every single client. And that will also like, if you guys crack jokes, that's going to open up like a window for them to trust you, right? So jokes are huge. Find a couple jokes.
Yeah. And I feel like that's so important. Now, Vanessa, did you feel like someone taught you to do that, or did you just get like your comfortability with however many reps you did, like your appointments until you found out like I need to be silent here, I need to laugh here, I need to switch the tone of my voice here? Like, was that all just reps for you, or did someone show you how to do that?
It's both. I think a lot of the stuff I've learned are just from literally watching other people, like YouTube, TikTok, watching other sales gurus. I watch a lot of people who also don't work in insurance. I watch like a lot of people like high ticket closers or solar reps or all these like other sales industries because I feel like if I'm just fixated on what insurance people do, then it's going to be all like one system and everyone's saying the same thing. So if I actually learn from the sales industry in general, I'm going to be able to obtain a lot more valuable tips. So both, long story
Yeah,
short.
I think that's super important. So, and guys, think about that. Like, she's always getting better. And I think that's something that a lot of people sometimes can lack, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, she's been in this 4 years. She closes 25 to 30K a month. Like, what else could she need to learn? But she just told you guys, like, I'm always looking at other people's sales tips. I'm always looking to see what this person in this industry is doing all the time. Like, that's part of this, you guys. And I know I'm not going to go on a rant here, Vanessa, but like, I saw this video the other day of someone that was like, oh, I did insurance for 6 months and then it wasn't for like, it doesn't even work, blah, blah, blah. But what I'm trying to get people to understand is like, it didn't take you 6 months to master your craft. You're still mastering it right now.
Yeah, 100%.
So imagine like how much you've changed from 6 months, Vanessa, selling insurance to now 4.5 years or 4 years, Vanessa, selling insurance. Like that, like all those reps. I mean, you've done thousands and thousands of appointments. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I just in general think it's very naive to think that like you're gonna master something like over a certain period of time, because you should always be consistently, no matter what you're doing in any business, be learning, growing, and trying to figure it out even more.
Yeah, I love that. And I want you guys to kind of like get that too. Like if you're brand new or you've been here 3 weeks and maybe, you're not, buying a new car next Tuesday, like it's going to be okay, guys. Like this is a process of something, this is a career. This isn't a hobby. This isn't like some fun little thing we're going to do on the weekends. Like if you really want this to make sense for your life, Vanessa's like, I'm still looking up and learning and doing different things and trying different things 4 years into the business. So I think that's so important. Okay, talk to us about your recruiting. So you're building a big team. What are the things that you're marketing to why people might want to join the business? Like, what are the things that you're kind of getting out there for a reason why the life insurance might be good for people?
I think the first thing about social media is treating it literally like a business, right? I'm not posting like my cutesy, funsy like stuff anymore. I was for a while, right? But when you start treating your social media like a business, that's when everything changes. And I always say this, that if you want people to engage in your content, follow you, or be interested in like what you're posting, it has to be three things that you're posting about. You either have to be inspirational, educational, or you just have to be cute to look at. So if you want people to follow you, be one of those three things. So whenever I post a piece of content, whether it's like a story or like a reel, I'm always thinking about those like three things, right? Am I inspirational? Am I educational? Or is this like a good pic of me, right? So those are the three things I'm thinking of every single time I post, because I don't use social media as like this is a business for me, right? If it was up to me, I would be like off social media and MIA on a desert, like on a farm with pigs and cows, right? If it were up to me. But like social media is the best way for you guys to grow your business, and it's all free, right? Attraction marketing is the fastest way. Like I've seen, Nicole, Des, like you guys are absolutely crushing it, and probably like some of the best at marketing like in the company, so it's huge. So yeah, inspirational, educational, key to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean that's that's definitely true. I love that. Okay, and then what the things that you're talking about as far as the business, like because I think a lot of times, well, actually not a lot of times. This is what I did when I first started marketing on social media and started talking about people joining the business. I would only talk about the good stuff. I'd be like, "Hey, we make a lot of money. Come join our team," which obviously was the wrong way to do it. But I'm a new agent, and people are telling me to recruit people, so I'm like, "Cool. Hey, we make a lot of money. Come join our team." Hey, I wasn't telling people about the realistic ups and downs of the business. I wasn't telling people about what our commission looks like and what a chargeback could be. I wasn't telling people about how many hours I actually work. People would be like, "I want to work 1 hour a week," and I'd be like, "That sounds good. Come to my team, right?" So that's obviously my mindset's changed a lot. But what are the things that you're really careful to market of the people that you're looking to come? Like, are you saying, "Hey, come, we make a lot of money"? Are you saying, "Hey, come, we get to help people"? What do you kind of think?
Mm, I used to. My first couple of years in the business, I was definitely like posting things like that. And I don't think that's like the wrong thing to say if you have like the numbers behind it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't think there's like that's wrong to post like your number. Sometimes I'll post like commission statements, but for me, like when I talk to someone or a recruit, I'm almost like scaring them off. I'm like, yeah, we work 50, 60 hours a week. My first year was really hard, blah, 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 blah. And if they're like, yeah, let's do it, I'm like, okay, well, it's war. Let's do it. you know? So I'm almost like scaring them off when I talk to these people. And they know, like, coming into this call, like, pretty much like the expectations because I talk about it a lot, like on my stories and stuff and what I'm looking for. And I really do disqualify a lot of people. Like, I just talked to one girl and she's like, yeah, like, I just kind of want to like be able to have hobbies and like have free time. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't for you. Bye. Go find a job. Right. So like when you guys are recruiting, also like don't be afraid to disqualify people because you're wasting your time and it's also like a really big liability for you, right? Obviously roll up debt, chargebacks, whatever, right? So just disqualify people who you guys know deep down aren't meant for this business because it takes a certain type of person to work here, be here, and like thrive here.
Yeah. So what are some things that like if an agent does say to you, like if you tell her, like what are the expectations you tell them? Like do you tell them they have to work a certain amount of hours, they have to be on Zoom, they have to have their camera, they have to buy a certain amount of leads, or what are the expectations to work with you? Like if I want to join your team and I want to work with Vanessa, what do you tell me like this is what makes you a good fit?
Well, the first call, I normally am just asking him questions like, what are you looking for? What interested you in the life insurance space? Like, same thing I'm doing on my sales presentations by like asking questions. That's what I'm doing like on my recruiting calls. I'm not like, we're FFL and we've been here for blah, 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 and Sean's the CEO, blah, 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 right? It's more of like, okay, what are you looking for? How can I help you? What are you willing to commit? What have you done before? It's a lot of like question based selling as well, right? Asking them questions. I'm not doing a lot of talking. It's really just them telling me what they're looking for and how they work. And then I'm deciding based on that, oh, okay, you know, sorry, this isn't really a good fit. Wish you the best, or it is a good fit.
Yeah. What are some of the reasons that you think, or like the biggest reasons that you think there's some failures in the business, right? Like it's not for everybody, but a lot of people, try it out and it doesn't work out for them. What are like the things that you see generally with those people that don't make it?
I think it's just lack of confidence, commitment, and like I said, it takes a certain type of person. Like there's some people on this call who like know that you're meant for more, and there's some people who just don't feel like that, you know. And there's some people deep down who's like, no matter what it takes, I'm gonna like figure it out. And there's some people who it's like they have one brick thrown at them, and they're like on the ground forever, you know. So it just takes a certain type of person. I forgot your question. What'd you say?
Yeah, just like, like what are some things that you see why new agents or agents at all like don't make
Yeah.
it or they maybe move on to do something else?
Yeah, or just like not buying leads, not being consistent, not being coachable, right? If you guys are popping on Zoom every day and your camera's off, you're not unmuting, you're not asking Marissa for feedback, like you're not being coachable, right? So I tell people like your camera has to be on. If you aren't going to unmute, then it's going to be hard for you to work with me because I have to be able to coach you because you don't sell insurance, I do. So those are huge factors for me. Like if someone works for me, camera on is huge, right? You don't show up to work with a paper bag on your head. So why are you going to show up to work with your camera off? So it's my opinion on it.
I love that. Des, can you put that in the chat? You don't show up to work with your paper bag on your head? No, and guys, the reason I'm asking these questions, and I know sometimes on the calls it's like, oh, Marissa, like you're getting kind of dark and delirious about like why people quit. But I want you guys to hear this from us because Vanessa's built a huge team. She's had a lot of experience with a lot of agents. And I'm telling you this so that way you guys can understand like maybe these are the changes about myself. And nobody's immune to it. That happened to me when I first came in. I was like, oh, dude, I would make one sale, and then I'd be like, dude, I can go to happy hour for like 3 days. And it was like, no, Marissa, you have to continue to make sales, right? Like I thought, oh, if I make 2 sales a week, like I'm chilling. And then it's like, no, you have to have that dedication, that grind if you want the business to work long term. If you're trying to sell 2 sales and peace out, then you could probably do that, right? But that's why I'm asking these questions because I want you guys to see, history, right? If you look at the history of like, okay, this is why people generally, and we're being transparent about it, don't do well in the life insurance industry. What are some things about myself that I can change so I can get ahead of that right now? Right. And maybe some of these things you're doing, and maybe some of these things you're like, Marissa, I have no idea what you're talking about. I would never do that. I'm ready to grind. And that's what I'm trying to get across. So I don't want you to think it's like being dark. It's like, we want you to know this is what I mostly see. We see people that they really don't want to buy leads or they refuse to buy leads or they won't buy leads. They fizzle out. because their warm market can only last, right, so long. They want to work 5 hours a week. We see them fizzle out. Like these are the clues to success. Um, so I love that. Vanessa, what do you think has been like a big challenge for you in the business that you feel like you've overcome?
I think in terms of like selling or recruiting, building, training.
Yeah, just anything, or maybe something that like you did as a brand new agent that you like learned or you overcame.
So I think like selling is like you guys can learn that, right? Watch YouTube videos, whatever. But I think like one of the hardest things is like building because you're learning how to manage like a bunch of different personalities, talk to people, communicate with people. And I think it's just learning where to put your energy into the business, right? People who are going to fill your cup, people who take away, right? And for me, I've invested I think I talked about this on my video the other day, but I think one of the biggest mistakes I made was, investing so much into agents who didn't deserve it, right? Buying them leads, like buying them states, sitting on trainings with them for hours, and then vice versa, right? Not helping the agents that really, if I just had given them that extra arm, could have maybe still been here, right? And you guys can figure that out based on the qualities that they have, but it's also just learning how to like communicate with your agents and like setting those expectations, right? At the end of the day, you guys are working as a group and you guys aren't going to all like each other all the time, right? And that's fine. There's never going to be 100 people on a call where you guys are always going to get along, but it's having that like mutual respect of like, okay, maybe Marissa and I are like beefing right now, but we still have that mutual respect and we'll like get over it, right? So it's just always having that level of respect and not going and like having like an attitude or being unprofessional because at the end of the day this is a business. We're not here to like feed into like drama or whatever. We're here to like make money, right?
Yeah.
So I'm big on like this is a business. This is a business.
Yeah, and I think that's super important. And I feel like every time I've interacted with you, you've been that way. And so I know that you are that way. And it is super important because a lot of times we get, like, don't get me wrong, guys, the business is fun, right? We get to go to a night conferences, we get to go, to offices, we get to hang out, we get to go to dinners, do whatever it is. But at the end of the day, just like Vanessa said, like, this is a professional business. If you worked at any other job, you wouldn't necessarily like everyone. You wouldn't have a good day every single day. Like, it's just part of the game, and we have to show up and remember that like this is our livelihood and this is how we pay our bills, and we have to be professional. And I think that's super, super important. And especially like Vanessa, talk about like your team culture. Like, how do you set the culture for your team as a leader?
I think the big thing is just obviously leading from the front, right? Putting out numbers, selling, showing them that if I can do it, then they can do it. But also like checking in with your people, right? I try to check in once or twice a week. If someone's been off Zoom and I'm like, and they're normally there, I'm going to check in and be like, hey, is everything okay? Right? Sometimes people just need that, like, that arm. And that's really hard for me because I'm not someone that communicates like that. Like, I'm like very direct, very like straightforward. And there's some agents that you guys might work with that need that extra, like, that need that extra arm, and just learning how to navigate each agent you work with, I think is huge.
Yeah, that is true. It's like coaching a team, right? Like I'm sure like if you played any sports or you're ever part of a team, like not everyone operates the same, right? I could be screamed at and I'd be like fired up, like let's go back on the court and like do what we need to do. But then and you scream at somebody else and they're getting, really upset about it. So you have to know, I think, how to coach people. And that's probably been my biggest challenge is like you think that you can treat everybody the exact same way and have the same relationships with everybody, but you can't, right? Everyone's built different and needs different things from you. So that's super important as you guys get going and start building your agency. That's super awesome as well. Okay, so Vanessa, you talked about briefly mentioned that you did real estate for a little bit, and then you mentioned that, other sales industries, not necessarily that you did them, but solar, pest control, things like that. Why do you think, because there's a lot of different sales industries people could be doing, why do you think, like, regardless of FFL, life insurance industry is, the way to go?
I think it just comes down honestly to the lead flow. Leads are like the fundamental of your business, whether it's selling, whether it's recruiting, like leads are the absolute fundamental thing to your business, right? Selling in terms of um, leads, like buying leads, and then obviously like recruiting. It's a lot easier to recruit someone, like to have them sell life insurance over the phone versus being like, hey, let's go knock some doors, right? So leads are the absolute fundamental of your business. I keep forgetting your question. I feel like I have like 8 p.m. like
No,
brain play. What was your question?
no, you're good. That was my question is why like
Okay.
life insurance over solar, pest control, real estate, like other sales industries.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Leads are huge, but also I think the systems, and we sell a product that's a much lower commitment than buying a house, buying solar. I mean, there's a couple other lower commitments a couple other lower commitment products, but those are the main ones. And it's just people pay that $80 a month, and it's a much lower commitment than a $300,000 loan. But I also feel like insurance, people always say like, oh, like, just keep buying leads, like figure it out, right? But it is a skill set, right? Because what we're selling is the perception of value. We're selling a product that they're never going to see, touch, smell, hear, right? So it is a skill set of learning how to really pull out the emotion. And when we're on the phone, right, it's always 80% emotion, 20% logic, right? So asking those questions, building value is huge on your calls.
Wow, I love that you said that. Our product is the product that they're not going to be able to see, touch, hear, right? It's a product that they're going to actually get for their family. They're not even going to be the ones to use it. So it is a super emotional sale. It is a skill set that you have to build because you can see a house, you can feel a house, you can be inside a house, solar, you
Yep.
can see them doing the install, up on the roof. So that, I love that analogy. Vanessa, you've been absolutely phenomenal. Are you coming to a night on Friday or just going to do the East Coast one?
I have a prior commitment, a family thing, but I'm going to be on the East Coast one for sure.
Okay, so East Coast one. So we'll see Vanessa in the fall at the East Coast Ignite. But anything that you feel like we missed, didn't go over, or any like last thing that you would like to leave the team with?
I think you asked me about building, and I talk a lot about building because I feel like I sometimes forget what it is, what it's like to sell as a new agent. So that's all I really know, right? My brain is like focused on like selling and building right now. But you asked me, how do I know if a new agent is like losing momentum or like fizzling out? And really, the question I ask myself is, are they recruiting, or excuse me, are they selling, recruiting, training, or marketing? And that's how I know if they're not doing any of those things, or they're doing like one or two of those things, then they might be like fizzling out, right? So try to get your agents to be doing all four of those things, and they're going to have that momentum of the business, because those four pillars are absolutely huge and essential to building a big business.
Yeah, I love that. Well, you have been amazing. Thank you so much. I know it's late. It's almost 9 p.m. on the East Coast, so I know you're super busy. I know you crushed it all day today, but we are honored. I've wanted to connect with you forever on our call, so thank you so much for hopping on with us.
Yeah, thanks, Inspire. Have a good one.
We'll see you soon. All right, guys, let's get back on the phones if you are on the West Coast. If not, I will see you next week on the NLG call, and I will see you this Friday at Ignite. I can't wait to meet all of you guys in person. All right, guys, have a good night.